So let's hand over to the Queen herself. Annie, I'd like you to say hello to everyone. Firstly, look at all these fabulous people that you're surrounded by. It's a wonderful group. Obviously, there's family and friends, but welcome. Tell us, never mind me, I'm not going to do an introduction. You tell about you. You do you, Annie.
How long do I have? Oh, I'm so shy, as you know. Anyway, I just want to seriously, humbly thank you for taking the time out to support my launch. It's a really big deal making this amazing book with the beautiful Dawn. And so I'm really looking forward to you hearing about our journey and what brought us together and the whole purpose and intent behind the book. And so what about me? For those of you who don't know me, I'm a CEO of a couple of businesses and I mentor and coach women, and my whole ethos is actually empowering other women, particularly in business and life, just to take themselves to their next level, whatever that is. So I get excited, I get super excited about them actually just shining in their circumstance, and we're all really different. And so I'm on a mission to actually just really encourage women globally to actually just live their best self, you know, just to be happy in who they are, to find it, to know it, to love it, to celebrate it, who you are, and then connect. There's a whole network of women who just want to support each other, affirm each other. And so becoming Annie has been a big part of that, to actually unpack becoming me, because once you actually go, it's pretty much everybody who will journey through this book will actually find themselves. You know, you'll be able to relate to, you know, this is how Annie found herself, or what am I finding out myself. And so that's what it's about. It's actually a catalyst, if you like, to help other people find out, you know, who they are, what they love, what makes them happy. You know, for me, I've got 3 words that I try to focus on: success, balance, and happiness. And if you can get them right, success under your own terms, be balanced as you do it, and actually just be happy at the end of the day and the way you're progressing around all the dramas that are life, right? Then that's a good place to be. So that's pretty much, yeah, what I'm about. And I'm so excited that you're here at my little launch party.
Little, this is huge. If we were all in one room, we'd be squishing the house around. So
you would have thought going virtual is great.
Exactly. Well, the great thing is that we're going to find out a little bit about the people that have helped bring this together as well. But just before we do that, I wouldn't mind, Annie, first of all, let me say thank you very much for coming on my radio show, firstly, because I think what I loved having about you on the program was that you're so giving with your knowledge. So, you know, I have to go through the rigmarole of saying to people, listen, this isn't a sell. You're on community radio. You need to make sure that you're being, I guess, conscious of not pushing yourself or a product. But that just comes naturally to you. Is that an important part of how you operate, is always being that person that helps others and gives away knowledge basically for free?
Yeah, pretty much, because I'm not in it for the money. And so I'm at a stage in my life that I actually just want to give back. If I've learnt tips and tricks along the way, then I actually want to share those. And particularly if it's a space that you're actually just helping people on their journey. Why should we make it harder? You know, why should we make people struggle? You know, there's always, you know, there is money for it to be able to, you know, in any business, for those who are wanting to really invest in a deep way. And, you know, and that's what we all should be doing. We should be doing business well. But there's so much of life that is actually just helping people, you know, standing aside, just being you know, assisting them and making their journey easier. And, you know, and I'm really strong on that, because I've found, you know, a lot of competition. And so I've gone against competition to collaboration. You know, I've found resistance and lack of support. And now I'm like going, you know what, just help the people. It's not hard, right? And so a lot of my style now is all about, yeah, collaborate, share, and try and find those synergies where we're actually trying to achieve the right end. And therefore then when you're in that space, you're not competitors, you're actually trying to achieve the same good. And also back yourself. If you are really good at what you do, you know, that will stand firm. You know, and people pay big money for that, you know. And so, and if they don't, that's okay. You've helped them anyway. So I think if you have an attitude of just giving, then you'll be positioned in the right place, that things will come your way if they're meant to be. And if they're not, you know what, you've just been a really good human. Yeah. That's really important.
And I think what's really important that everyone here would probably agree with is that what you've done so successfully is you've stepped into your role as you, and that's, it's not easy. I mean, you know, it's not easy. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna call it. It's not easy as a woman. It takes time to, I guess, form the whole part of who you are. And at the end of the day, you need to be able to recognize what that is. Did that take time? What's the secret recipe, please, for recognizing that and really just stepping into that role of being yourself?
I think the secret recipe for me was just actually turning 50 and going, I don't care anymore. You know, like all the pretenses, you kind of get to a stage in your life and go, I don't have to be perfect someone in front of else. I don't have to please you. I actually don't even, if you don't like me, that's actually okay. You know, I want to be competitive with myself and be my best self, but I actually don't see anyone else as a competitor. And when I'm focusing on, being my best self, or the jobs that I get the privilege of being able to do, then it actually is, it's more energizing. You know, I'm happier, I'm more balanced, I have more energy. And now people go, oh my gosh, I want your energy, right? And I'm like going, it's because you've got so many anchors weighing you down. When you're busy, you know, at other stages of your life, when you're busy worrying about, you know, how will they feel, or what if I fail, and is this embarrassing, you know? And I've been through all those journeys, you know, in my 20s and 30s and 40s, and go, oh my gosh, will everyone think I'm crazy? Like, probably, because I am a bit crazy. But, you know, the crazy people change the world, right? And so being able to not sort of try not to, you know, my learning is by saying, you know, the things that I've been probably told not to do as much are actually my strengths. And so it's learning how to hone them and be able to maximize them in the right way, that they are the gifts that I was born with, you know, and everybody has gifts. So spend less time. I think my mission is now, don't wait till you're 50, you know, find this out in your 20s and 30s and just go, yeah, that's right. I don't have to be living my life for someone else. They're already taken. You might as well be your own self, and really start to enjoy and nurture. Take time out to nurture who you are. I think a lot of us, particularly me, like I was a mum of 5, including 2 sets of twins. So like you don't get much time, right? And so with that then took a delay, if you like, that for the time that I actually went, oh, now the kids are all through school, I've got some time to find out more about who I am now. I'm not just the twins mum or whatever. And so that's really important. My advice to those that I mentor and coach now is, oh my gosh, like before you have a hat, you know, you're a wife, you're a mother, you're a sister, you're a friend, you're actually yourself. And so the stronger you are in that, then you'll be a better person in all those other circumstances. So it's actually the priority, you know, and it's not a luxury. Self-care and knowing yourself, it's 100% a priority.
It is a priority, but it's hard. I mean, I'll put my hand up and say that I absolutely suck at self-care. The puppy dog that you can see walking around is the only reason why I exercise. And I'm really just starting to, I guess, hit the ground running with that. But it's hard to prioritize yourself. And Annie, every time you say you've had 4 kids under, and just in that time frame, I just nearly fall down. I fall down every time you say it, because it is remarkable amongst all the other things that you've achieved, and really hats off to you. And it's about going through those different phases. And you have to get through that phase to move to the next phase, to move to the next. What would be your one piece of advice where someone who felt they were really stuck at a particular point in their life and they didn't feel like it was going to end, and it's a bit like Groundhog Day?
I've had so many moments, and my lovely husband will share of me just crying, going, but I want to do this, and I really feel like I've got so much more potential, or I want to, you know, I really thought I'd be good at it, and I unfortunately didn't enjoy the season, right? You know, my advice is actually saying, if you're in that season, and a lot of those seasons, particularly young mums, it's full on, right? There is no break, you know, it's never ending, and you're in demand, and you lose that sense of self. But so one, to try and find time, and you can once you make it a priority. So once again, it's what you value is how you spend your time. But 2, to actually be able to enjoy the season, and then don't be thinking that you've got to do these massive leaps. You know, I was guilty of that. Like if you can't go from here to here, or why bother? And it just feels, you know, people get intimidated, they get overwhelmed, and then they go, oh well, I won't bother. Whereas there's always something you can do, you know, and I'm like that all the time. Well, what's one thing you can wake up and do tomorrow? And, you know, and a lot of that is actually knowing where you're going, you know, centering yourself on your vision of what you want to achieve for yourself and on the planet. And so once you've got that sort of direction, then there's always something that you can do to better yourself or better, you know, skill yourself up. And I've had to do that, and I've had to do it a lot of the hard way. It hasn't been easy, you know, but it's a determination to go, I'm not going to let it get me down. I'm actually going to let it sort of, you know, put in the hard work to make it happen, you know, and I think everybody can do that. And so my message is, in summary, don't make it so hard for yourself. Don't have unrealistic expectations, right? Just pick some small goal and give it a go, you know what? And also be prepared to fail, you know, just laugh, treat it as a game, like it's fun. Try new stuff, and if you're not so good at it, you know, find something else. Sometimes you're not really good at it, but you really like it, right? So just keep doing it. Like, who cares?
Yeah. Everyone just relax.
Relax.
I do like your advice, though, about baby steps, because I think that in today's society, we can put so much pressure on ourselves to say, that's the end goal and I can see it and I'm going to get there tomorrow, and not really recognising that there's a lot of steps along the way and there's a lot of failures. I really like that piece of advice.
Exactly. I mean, that's right. When you read the book, you'll be noticing that. You know, I really thought, you know, I'll share that I had this view that I wanted to be a businesswoman when I was like 16, 17, 18. It didn't actually happen until I was like 43 or something, you know, and so it's kind of like going, well, that's right. Sometimes it actually just works. You can do the course and you can then get the qual and then get the job, right? Particularly easier if you're male, and don't have 5 children. But if you do, then, you know, then it's like, okay, well, I still want it. So what are my, you know, my baby steps, or sometimes really big steps and exhausting steps, but focus and determination that you get there. If you really want something, you will get there, and you'll be, because you'll be ready at the times that opportunities will be there. You know, if you're in the right space and the opportunity opens up, you're ready to seize it, right? But if you're sleeping, then opportunities do come, and then you've missed them. So be at the
absolutely remarkable, and I know that everyone is waiting with bated breath to receive your book and learn even more about all of that journey. Such a journey piece, and how you got there, and how wonderful you take people along with you as well. Just look at the audience we've got today. Now I'm going to quickly throw to Dawn in just a moment, but while we're doing that, I'd like everybody to jump in the chat, and I want you to just really quickly just shoot where you're from, or just where you are, just so we can get a feel for, you know, whereabouts in the world everybody is. So jump in the chat, maybe flick us a couple of details. That'd be interesting. Sydney, yes, yay. I'm in Sydney. I'm in Hornsby, which is green. Oh, Manly, that's lovely. Oh, Manchester, England, yay. Is it the middle of the night? Thank you so much. Someone's here from Bris Vegas. Oh, another person from England, that's lovely. Beacon Hill, nearly England. No, not quite. North Ryde. Tamarama. I know where Tamarama is, Todd. I used to live in Bondi. Used to walk around the seawall to get to you. Central Coast, hurrah! The Canberra bubble, very, very realistic there. And while everyone's doing that, we can check out where everybody is. Thank you so much for sharing, everybody. Let's flick to Dawn now. Now, it's kind of like it's a battle of the fabulousness with the two of you in a room. After talking to both of you and meeting you, Dawn, the other day, and having a bit of a prep chat, I can only begin to imagine if you'd bottled the energy of the two of you on a phone call, it would have been absolutely fabulous. So tell us a little bit about, I guess, how did that all happen? How did you come across Annie, and what made you think, oh, I want to turn this into a story?
Just the giggles. My gosh, anyone that can giggle as much as me, I definitely want to work with them. Like, I want to know more about what makes this woman giggle. Like, I have this thing where I've giggled my way to abundance, and someone that can giggle as much as me, bring it on. I want to know who this woman is. I want to know what's tickling her fancy. Not in that way, but obviously, you know, it's... I know we've got children online, so, you know. But the thing is, it's like when someone laughs and giggles from that space, you know that there's stuff that they have created and they've done the work. They've got to a place where you know, you just don't hear it very often. And people have underestimated me so much because I giggle a lot. And I've always said never underestimate a woman who giggles a lot, because we will turn around and we will show you something. Like we got fire. We're both Sagittarians, so that also helps.
Oh my God, so am I.
What?
Yeah, that's really scary. Okay, we won't go into that too much, but that's kind of weird. But so Sagittarians giggling a lot, but how did you come across one another in, I guess, I don't want to say the real world, but where did you find Annie? How did you stumble on the Annie?
The Annie. Okay. I stumbled on the Annie. I think a mutual contact of ours, Annelle, on LinkedIn, she had got like a thread going. And Annie had said something, or I had said something, and then there was a talk about a podcast that Annelle was doing, like with Annie. She was appearing on Annie's podcast. And then I was kind of invited, and then we started voice noting each other, but they weren't really many words. It was just pure giggles. And I think Annie nearly crashed her car driving out of a driveway because she was giggling so much. And I'm just like, I like this lady. Who is she? And then it was just podcast to book to published. It was, but yeah, it's been an amazing journey.
Tell us about the process of writing a book. I'm really fascinated by this because I think a lot of people who are, particularly those who are involved in small business circles, they will have done a lot of talking, and you know, they would have had a lot of networking opportunities, and there's a lot of pressure to write a book and do that, and so that you can tick that box. Tell me about the process from your perspective. How does that work?
Make it relevant to who you are. And when you're writing a book, again, there are lots of different types of books. I mean, I'm a self-confessed geek. I'm reading a book. I'm reading 5 at the moment, as well as writing 3. I'm reading a book about genome theory and the complexities and paradoxes of organizational strategy. They're the kind of books I read. So I go down the wormholes and the black holes, and then I find another one. I get my Hessian mat and I go down that as well. But it's about really finding something that fascinates you about your industry, and then just sitting and writing what it is that fascinates you about that thing. Whether it's you've seen something that is that you want to that you're really passionate about, you know, whether it's a level of service, but write it from your perspective, not the bumper car stickers or the cliches, or write it in your own voice and find out what it is you like about it, why you've chosen that, and just, it's like making a dinner. You know, when you've got friends coming for dinner, you know, you go, okay, what ingredients do I love? What ingredients do my friends love? How are we going to put this together? Think of it as a recipe and as the dinner party. So you'll start off with your canapes, you'll then do your starters, you know, then you'll have your main, and then you'll have your sorbet, and then you'll have your dessert, and then you'll have your, you know, your coffee and your mints, and, you know, you just create a whole menu. It's just, food is amazing.
I love that anecdote though. It's such a chronological thing, isn't it, to think of a meal and think of a dinner party. And I guess writing a book is the same. You need to have an approach that's a little bit systemized, but make it quite personal. Am I right?
Yeah. What did you say?
I was asking you about the chronological nature of a meal, right? You sit down and you plan it out with giggles in between, as Debbie mentioned. And then is that the same system approach you should have for writing a book?
Well, it's like when you're cooking the meal, you know, if you've got dessert that you make, like you might have to make the cheesecake base before you do the vegetable, the cream and the fruits. And then you go back to your starter, and then you might eat the veg as they're raw before they're going in. And this is the thing, you have to kind of dance in that, because if you're just trying to write something because it's got to be in order, it's no, you've got to do it from soul. You've got to, I mean, I was writing the end of Annie's book and then back to the middle, and then I was at the start, and then I was back at the end, because, and also depending on who I was interviewing and how late I'd stayed up going down the Google hole, researching and stalking Annie to within an inch of her life. And I found things out about Annie. I don't know whether she knew that. I mean, I found out. I mean, did you know how many hits on Google this woman has before the 3.5 million that she now has, just by typing in becoming Annie? I think it's 3.5 million.
Wow.
It's a bit more than that now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's
I don't know if you heard any of that.
No, we did. We did. We can hear you, Dawn. It's all good. I'll just keep gesturing like this. It's okay. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing your insights. That was absolutely fantastic. And Annie, if you could go and fetch Stephen, that would be awesome. Go and fetch one of your guests. That would be delightful. And we're going to hear from Stephen now. And now I spent about 8 minutes with Stephen today. That was possibly the most interesting 8 minutes I've experienced in a long time. I don't normally feel comfortable with people, I guess, unpacking me, but Stephen has a wonderful way of doing it so that you feel nurtured, protected, and that it is for a purpose. Stephen is, another Annie fan, and he is a very well-known coach and speaker. We've got some of his staff members here today joining him as well, which is great to see, because they're all as well joining us. Welcome. Stephen, tell us a little bit about how you came across Annie and how you've been working with her in a professional sense.
Annie was associated with a book that I'd been brought on as a consultant to digitise the book. And I met Annie standing outside of the Double Bay Library on a phone, and she was here. A couple of days later, she sent me a note asking if she could write an article on LinkedIn and put my name in it. And from the moment I spoke to her, and the moment in the nature of how she asked politely if she could use my name on an article, I knew straight away that Annie was someone who was in the business of helping other people. So the great joy of this is, and I told Annie earlier when I first arrived, I'm reading this book to work out how I help Annie create a framework of how she can make everyone become, over and above what she's already doing. So I met Annie through a book. I was a consultant on the book, Annie was in the book, and a few years later, the team, as you call them, the Desaidi Angels, as they call themselves, that work for me and work with me, part of the Philippine culture is you don't receive on your birthday, you give. So I sent out an invitation to a select people for them to receive a gift from me at a ridiculously low price of coaching. That turned out that Annie accepted, of one of the few people I offered, and we got into a function room. And it's really important to listen to this bit. Annie sat in front of about 6 meters of floor-to-ceiling mirrors because there was no whiteboard. And I actually drew out, listening to Annie, all the things that she had done in her life, what she wanted to do in her life, who she wanted to help in her life. And Annie got to sit in front of six meters of mirrors of who she is. There was another 5 sessions that we never did. They're still available, Annie. And
even the first, I only needed one.
That's it. So we basically spent 3 hours together, and what happened is Annie got really clear on what Annie wanted to do. Annie got really clear on who Annie wanted to be. Your responsibility in life is to understand who you are. Your obligation in life is to teach someone else what you discovered. And that's what Annie does. So,
do you think that that's one of the reasons why the book is so important for people to read, absorb? I mean, what would you say the approach should be to reading a book like this? Because I mean, you're one of those people that assists people with these sort of journeys. Do we read it in chunks, walk away, have a think, come back to it, or read it in one sitting and really take it all in?
I think what people need to realise is that we all stand on the platform of life, and every train that goes by, we all try and get the attention or engagement or something of the train flashing by. And Annie's heard me say this before when we've chatted. Your job in life is to stand on the platform of life and illuminate such an ability to help other people that people will stop and get off. The other thing is, if the train doesn't stop, it's not your train. So the first thing is, Annie needs to realise not everyone's going to read the book, but Annie needs to be an example of what's in the book, and people then can be drawn to things like the book, like the coaching, like webinars, like having a conversation, like sitting in a room with 6 metres of glass with a lady like Annie and discovering who you can be because of who she became. So a lot of people will say, well, you need to read the book in block time, and you need to read the book this way, and you maybe need to get it on a podcast, get all of that. But the first thing I would tell Annie to do is to get so illuminated that the book is an asset to change someone's life, and you'll attract the people from that frequency. Most people are trying to they create a book, they create a podcast, they create videos, all the stuff that I do. They get the book and stand on the platform of life and try and throw it through the window of the train going past, as opposed to stand on. And the beauty of Annie, she could stand on the platform of every person's life on this screen and in this room. And it's ironic that she lives in a house that has an unbelievable view over Sydney. Annie could stand here and illuminate the frequency of who she is, and the people who need to read the book will find it. So my answer is, how do you read Annie's book? Believe that you deserve to read it.
I love it. That's beautifully said. Absolutely beautifully said. Thank you. Thank you, Stephen. That's a nugget. I'm going to take that away as one of the nuggets of tonight's evening. Well done. And I think that's something with all of these kind of books. We can feel a little bit overwhelmed with the number of books like this, but this is about, it's a journey piece. It's an informative one. It's a guide. Would you call this a guide, this book as well, Stephen? Is it a way to, I don't want to say a way to live, but is it inspiring to see that this is how she's lived her life and we should be inspired to do the same?
Yeah, if you think of, if everyone here, everyone on the screen, everyone in the room and everything, if I was to tell a story, Annie tells a story. We're living in Annie's home where she grew up as a child, I found out today. Just by that sentence, every single person is now thinking of where they grew up. If I tell you about the hardship of some of the things I've gone through, if you mentioned about your dog and then you mentioned about Annie having a couple of kids, everyone in this room that's associated with that will resonate with it. Most people think a great story is you telling someone your story. A great story is you illuminating the awareness of theirs. So part of the great thing about Annie's book, Annie is actually being an example of the art of the possible, and every single person on the planet, especially today, is trying to discover what the new possible is, and everyone calls it the new norm. Every human being on the planet right now is trying to understand, how do I go the journey of becoming who I am? Because COVID's redefined everything. COVID has interrupted who we are as a human species, but it hasn't changed what's in this book. It hasn't changed it. So is it a guide? Yeah. You know who it's a guide for? The people who are seeking guidance. And one of the things that people do, whether it's a coach or a business, they think their job is to convince other people to be guided. Your job is to be an example of the map of their life. That's all you need to do. Because if you don't like what I'm saying, you're not my train. I love you to bits. But what is the mantra of what you've decided to do in your life? Annie's mantra is, and if you think of it, why would God, serendipity in the universe, send Annie so many children all at once? One of the things is, if you create something as amazing as this, or you create a podcast, or you create a product, or you get into a relationship, or you do anything in life and you try and force the success onto someone else, there is enough people out there that Annie will draw who are seeking guidance. And they'll draw because of the nature of who she is. Because human beings are herd animals, and when a herd gathers, they're looking for leadership, and the truest form of leadership is example, which is what Annie is. And it went back to my point of, why would God's serendipity in the universe give her such a large family all at once to prepare her for the large family she was going to create when they became old enough to go? Now Annie's creating a global family at a time in the world where it's possible to have a global audience.
I love it. Yeah, that's true. And it is, you're actually right. Thanks to technology and the way that we're heading, and even thanks to COVID, bringing us together. I think I've met two of you. I know Talat, I know everybody else. I know Jacqueline, and that's it. And because of this world that we live in, we've been able to connect across borders, across countries, which is which is good. You know, it's very serendipitous. So yes, a very good point. Thank you, Stephen. Now, what we might do to mix things up a little bit, guys, is we're going to throw you into a breakout room, but don't worry. Everyone here is just like you, in their living room, in their bedroom, possibly popping champagne, which is fine, and perhaps just by themselves or with a small child. And what we'd like you to do is just introduce you to each other to one another. Take it as an opportunity. I don't want to say the word networking because we're all sort of friends now. Just as an opportunity to meet some different people. And a really great icebreaker is, how do you know Annie? So all of you guys in the VIP room in Annie's home, if you guys want to grab your devices, and I'm going to throw you into the breakout rooms as well. So if you guys, they actually have to physically separate all of these guys, which is quite hilarious. So what I'll get you all to do is grab your devices from inside the VIP room, separate into separate rooms so you don't get any feedback, and then we'll all go into breakout rooms. So what we'll do, and I'll also give you we'll do it for about 10 minutes, and I'll give you all a 60-second wrap up to come back into the main room. Someone's drinking tea. Helen, stop drinking tea. I'm about to open a bottle of Prosecco. So that's, unless you're one of those people in England, which if it's very early in the morning, that's fair enough. All right, ready? You're all going to be thrown out. Accept the invitation to your breakout room now. Good to see you all back. Thank you for joining me. I'm trying to unmute the party room.
Oh, sorry, party room lost control. Very likely, it's likely I do lose control regularly. So anyway, I think
you should.
What's the meeting, Anthea?
Yes, Anthea next, please.
Let me introduce my next amazing.
Hang on, we haven't got everybody back in the room yet. I'm just waiting for, or have I got everybody back?
Everybody in the cyber world, and I'll get Anthea.
I think everyone's, make sure you write down who you'd had a chat to. Thank you very much for participating in those because it makes it a little bit different. So we're going to have two more guest speakers to tell us a little bit about their connections with Annie for the Annie Fest that is this evening. So I'm going to throw to Anthea Leonard. Now, she is a pioneer CEO. She is the owner, the creator, the brainchild of Sweet Art Cakes. And which everybody knows and loves. It's almost a household name these days. And I'm really thrilled to be talking to her today because we're going to speak about the connection that she has as two successful professional women in their fields, very different fields. And Anthea, tell me a little bit about what really drew you to Annie and what it is about her that you had that, I guess, professional connection with.
I met Annie at a training group that we decided to individually put ourselves into that was mostly men and very pushy men. And I found it quite not daunting because I really wanted to be there, but I'm more like an arty-farty than a businesswoman. So I found it extraordinarily informative to be sitting in a room where people would sit up there with their whiteboard and write down the thoughts and the headings and then break it down and then work out what you had to do, and then you all had lists to go home with. And Annie was sitting next to me, right? And Annie's going, she has a laptop and I've got, of course, a pad, a book, and I'm writing down and just going, phone, and I'm going, wow, how do you get there? Knowing that that is not where I could get. And what Annie was creating being in that group, she had a reason for being in that group. I had a reason that I just wanted to know, I've done this for 40 years and what do I do next? But Annie was sitting there knowing that she wanted to do a coaching thing for women. I didn't know that then, of course. I was just in awe of her. And she was getting together. She didn't even have a name then, but we brainstormed the name in this group called Lipstick Consulting. And in the beginning of Lipstick Consulting, I really wanted to be a part of it. But I remember that in the beginning of Lipstick Consulting, Annie set up all of these different sport days. So you had to go, you could go on hikes, you could go on rock climbing, you could go away for the weekend canoeing, or you could do what, and I was like, And I thought it was absolutely fabulous because I really wanted to be able to do that. But between raising my child and running my business and doing all these things, I had reasons why I couldn't. And now I'm actually starting to pack out and realize and look at those things. And so that's how we met. So then Annie decided that she was going to come and try and break down and give me a spreadsheet and a center of how I was going to start to move myself forward. And it was absolutely fabulous. But I had to learn the structure of actually referring to that spreadsheet. And and you've got to understand that so many people look at things and learn things in different ways. My sister was an honours degree doctor. I mean, she was in the top 5% of the country, absolutely extraordinary. I'm extraordinary too in my own way, but not in systems and practice. Yet I have run a very successful business. I've worked all around the world. My clients take me around the world and they love what I do. And now I'm trying to actually look back at all of that, like I'm watching Annie and the coaching that's happening, and work out what is for me next.
I want to ask you about that that moment when you're first in a room with someone who is doing the whole typing crazy, everything on the go, so many things, so many pots and pans on the stove all at once. I want to know how it is that Annie manages to do all that and yet not be intimidating. What do you think the secret sauce to that is?
It's a very good question. For me, I now understand that what Annie was doing was just catching the information and then being able to keep in the flow of her life. I think that is not something that I have known how to do. It's just been more of a squash for me. But Annie's great, and it's a term of hers that I have learned. She's great at unpacking things. So when I might ring her with an issue, she'll say, well, let's unpack it. Yeah? You do. You do. You do. And I repack the same way. But that's the whole thing. It might not be repacked the same way, and that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. And
you're looking for how to break it down and then how to actually pick the bits that are worth keeping.
There's a lot to learn from that, in fact, because it's not just about the book and being involved in that process, but actually being involved in the journey that is Annie as well. And from a professional level, for all of us professional women in this group here, what's the main thing that we should learn from Annie as that professional business, that persona, that Annie? Tell me what we should mainly learn from that.
Crikey, that is.
Can you choose one thing? No.
I think now that I know a lot more about her life, I think the unpacking of 5 kids and 2 sets of twins and keeping everything going, and the system. I mean, I had 1 child and I had her when I was 44, and but then I had 3 stepchildren, so I had 4 kids at 44, and I think you do learn to actually unpack very quickly and take what you need and leave the rest, and it's a gift over time. And Annie has grown that gift over time, and now she can just look at you and go, let's unpack that thing. And it's unpacked in a second. It's like instead of unpacking a house, it's unpacking a shoebox. You know, when you arrive and you've just packed a truck and you're moving house, and then you've got to systematically think, okay, put those boxes there, put those boxes there, do that there. I think Annie's way step ahead of us. You know, she's had so much practice at it that it may not be as small as a shoebox, but it sure as hell ain't a house.
That's an absolute nugget. Thank you so much for sharing with us the way that you've come across and loved and grown to, I guess, two powerful women side by side with Annie. Thank you so much, Anthea. It's lovely to meet you properly. Now, we've got one final speaker this evening who we have saved for lucky last, because It's a side of Annie that I'm sure is covered in the book, although, as Annie said when she told me about the book, there's probably about 5 or 6 books that she could read, she could write about herself, and I'm sure Dawn would agree. But I'm going to talk to Ilda Wade today. Ilda has known Annie for a number of years and is a fellow hiker and adventurer, not something that we've touched on yet. So, Ilda, thank you so much for chatting to us tonight. Tell me about how did you meet Annie, and what did you think of her when you first met her?
Well, I met Annie in our trekking training many years ago. It was in Balmora, the first session that we had together. And she has always come as a bubbling, positive, amazing, I call it cricket, the way she just always talk and move. But the thing that it really touched me, during the 2 hours that we have that trekking session, we never stop talking, and the faster we talk, the faster we walk. But it was an interchange of conversation, and she shared with me a time in her life of going on a trip to Europe with her family and with her mom after her dad had passed away. And everything that she told me, it was a lot of joke, a lot of laugh, a lot of funny moment, but always with respect, with warmth, and with grace and love for her family. One thing that I actually captured through other treks, our training sessions, when she was inviting her family with her, which is the husband or the children were coming. And you could see that relationship in the family that is not made up. It's just based in trust and love and respect. So this is one of the things that really attracted me to Annie and Patricia. I'm blessed with her.
I would agree. I think we're all blessed to have her, even if it's just someone that only briefly met or just hearing about now. I think that it really shows the depth of that personality, that that she has that ability to keep people talking almost nonstop. Ilda, just to finish up, I want to ask you, as someone who spent a lot of time hiking and adventuring together and doing all those fabulous walks and really connecting, why do you think it's really important for people to read Annie's book?
Well, I wouldn't say to anybody to read with a head, read with a heart, and you will learn a lot. There are so many parts of her life that it touched us in every single way. Actually, I read it already, and in one go, I'm going to read it again. But after I read it, when I was reading, I laughed, I cried. But after I read it for 2 days, I reflect on that and reflect how it touched my life in different ways. And Annie is a very special person that can touch you in many ways. And is very generous. She's gracious. She's gracious with people that sometimes have been unfair with her. And you read through the book, and she mentioned them with respect. So there is a lot to learn from Annie.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Now, Annie, if you want to gather everybody from your room in a socially respectful distance way that makes that not the next cluster in your house, that'd be delightful. Come on, everybody, make sure that you're on the screen. Oh, beautiful. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, God, I'm feeling dizzy.
Sorry to make you dizzy. I'll just kind of...
That's it. Oh, we can see everyone now. Thank you. That's wonderful. Everyone give us a wave at the Annie Party House. Woo! That's awesome. Now, just to finish up, I want to take a couple of screenshots. So if everybody could, I don't know, do something funky with your hands, that'd be really great. Okay, everybody on the screen, not just the people in Annie's room. Okay, ready, everybody? If you've got a small child, hold them up in the air. If you've got a cat, if you've got the book. Yes, Grace, yes. If you've got the book, it happens to be handy. Hold up the book. Who's got the book? Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, yay! That's awesome. Thanks, guys. Look, Annie, thank you for sharing your home, your friends, your journey, your laughter, your giggling, as the case may be, with us this evening. I've had a ball. It's been awesome to learn more about you. It's been awesome to learn about the people in your life, the people who have helped make this happen. I think professionally, I've learned a little bit from Dawn about how this process works. That's been really fascinating. And I think I've even had a little bit of unpacking going on for myself today as well. So thank you. Those of you who haven't come across me before, my name is Alexi Boyd. I am the conversation curator. This is what I do. If you are a professional and you're involved in the events industry, I would really love a shout out. That'd be really great. But please connect with me on LinkedIn as well, because that's my happy place. Annie, thank you so much for joining me this evening.
I want to thank Alexi. Thank you so much. It's been so wonderful to actually just meet someone. That's what life's like. You just meet them, connect, and you find a little soul sister. And then all of a sudden she said, I'll host your whole event for you. And it's just been so great to be able to just chill, obviously drink champagne, and to be able to celebrate, you know, that it's a big moment. It's a really big moment, putting your life out to the universe and exposing, you know, myself this way. And so I really highly value your commitment to actually just support me and, you know, to be able to come to this event, you know, and to be here at this moment. It's really, really special to me. So I know everybody who is here, and yeah, and I hope that if you've got the book, take a photo of yourself with the book, send it to me, and then most importantly too, just tell me not that it was awesome, because obviously it is, because Dawn Bates wrote it, but no, actually just tell me how it impacted you, because you know that's it, like a journey. This is a journey of a woman for 50 years, right? And it's also my journey. So I actually want to hear, you know, how did it impact your journey, you know, and where you're at. And if there is just one little something that you actually go, oh my gosh, I was in chapter 7 and it brought out, like Hilda was saying, you read it and then suddenly some things come. That's the nuggets, right? That's why we share. Otherwise, why bother? It's actually about passing something on that is valuable to you. So that would make me really happy if I hear how it's added value. So feel confident to just share that with me. Yeah, and thank you so much for giving up your time.
I'm going to unmute you all if you want to go say a big thank you, Annie, everybody together. It's going to sound really bad. Everybody go, yay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Annie.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Annie.
Thanks, everyone.
And team.
Lovely to meet you all.
You asked me something about what the book is. Because I've known Annie, I know what she does, and based on what I do as well. But this is a manuscript to a movement, and that movement is for you all to read it and go become you.
Thank you, Stephen. What a great way.
Can I please ask everyone to smile? Everyone smile. Ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Thanks, Annie. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Lovely to meet all of you. Bye-bye.
Likewise. With that black tie suit, Gary.
Oh, Dawn. Dawn, you look so beautiful. I'm so happy to share this moment. You're so beautiful.
You look gorgeous.
Thank
Love
you.
it. Nice to see you.
I'm going back to bed in a minute.
That's awesome. Thank you for being so generous with your time, Annie, and sharing your guests with all of us. I think it's just, it's such a nice way to connect, even though we can't. And it's nice. We all felt it. I felt a part of it, which was nice. I felt like I was in your home, which was lovely. Thank you.
You know, we're all an extension of family. It doesn't matter where you are. You know, it's like if you connect with someone, then you're just there, right? Like Dawn's in Argentina, I'm in Sydney, and we're now like total soul sisters. You know, and the same. You know, Edwina, I know.
Oh, big sister.
And Danny's going to you just meet people and you just go, oh, like it doesn't matter. So
Wonderful.
Love you all.
All right, everybody. I'm going to end the meeting because I am really exhausted. Alrighty.
I'm going to get off and because my crowd are getting very loud. So.
Bye, everybody.